In today's video, I'm going to teach you the fastest way to become an AI engineer. And no, just because you made an API call to Gemini once doesn't make you an AI engineer.
You're joking, right, dude?
But first, what is an AI engineer? To put simply, unlike a software engineer who mostly works on backend logic or UI, an AI engineer works with models, data, and how everything connects in production. It's not just using AI tools, it's building systems around them so they actually work in real products. Also, they make a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
So now that we know an AI engineer is not just someone who can call an API in their trash vibe coded app, we can begin. First step is learning Python. This is your base. If your Python is weak, everything else is going to feel harder than it needs to be. You don't need to master Python, you just need to be comfortable with the basics. For learning, I recommend watching any YouTube tutorial and then using AI to help you. This step should be quick. You only need to be good enough at Python. You will learn more when you start working with it. If you want, you can make a couple of Python projects to help you get a good grasp. Step 2. Understand how LLM applications actually work. You do not need to start by reading research papers and deriving transformer equations on a whiteboard. You need to understand tokens, context windows, temperature, latency, cost, embeddings, tool calling, and structured outputs.
Yeah, that looks easy enough.
Because if you do not understand these concepts, you're not really building models, you're just poking at them and hoping for the best. A good source to learn all of this is the Hugging Face LLM course. It teaches you how LLM systems actually work, from using models and tokenizers to handling data to even fine-tuning and deploying your own models. It gives you both the fundamentals and how things are actually done in practice today, without throwing you into theory hell. At this point, you want to build some projects. Build a resume analyzer that takes in a PDF and spits out structured JSON. Or you can build a tool that scrapes a web page and summarizes it into a tweet. Or build something that takes a voice recording, transcribes it, and turns it into meeting notes. The point is, you are not trying to reinvent ChatGPT, you're trying to learn how to wire real inputs into real outputs. Also, you want to learn prompt engineering, not the TikTok version where someone tells you to say you are an expert at the top of every prompt. For this, I recommend Anthropic's prompting guide. Once we're done that, we can move on to the next step. Step 3. Learn RAG. This is one of the highest leverage skills you can learn because most useful AI apps need access to real information. RAG stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation, and the basic idea is simple.
Well, it's actually quite simple.
You're not going to have all the information you need in the pre-trained data, so oftentimes you need to provide additional context like company docs, for example. Here is what you actually need to understand. You chunk your data, you embed those chunks into vectors, you store them in a vector database like Pinecone or Chroma. When a user asks a question, you embed the question, find the relevant chunks, shove them into the prompt as context, and let the model answer based on that.
I understand now.
There are a lot of good tutorials on YouTube that go in depth on RAG. Pick one and follow along. You should be familiar with these topics: document ingestion and pre-processing, chunking strategy, embeddings and vector search, retrieval quality like hybrid search, re-ranking, and filtering. For this, Llama Index is also a really good source, especially if you want to understand document ingestion and retrieval heavy systems. Langchain is also useful if you want help composing pieces together, but make sure you understand the logic underneath. And for a project, take a bunch of PDFs like your college textbooks or company docs and build a chatbot that can answer questions about them with proper citations. Step 4. Learn agents and orchestration. An agent is basically an LLM that can decide to call tools, take actions, and loop through steps until it finishes a task. Think of it as giving the model hands. A good starting point here is the Hugging Face Agents course. It is focused specifically on helping you understand agent systems, tools, and workflows. But once you start building real multi-step systems, you need orchestration because now you have state, branches, retries, approvals, tool calls, and multiple stages in the flow.
Oh, that's a lot.
This is where LangGraph becomes important. Build an agent that actually does something useful. Build something like an agent that monitors your email, categorizes it, drafts replies, and flags anything urgent. Or an agent that takes a GitHub repo and writes documentation for it. Something with real tool calls, real failure modes, and real value.
Now we have to get serious.
Before we get to step 5, you should be familiar with MCP or Model Context Protocol. Read documentation on it and see how it works. AI needs to be able to connect to external data and tools, so it is important that you are familiar with MCPs. Step 5. Evaluations. Anyone could get a prompt to work once. The job is getting it to work 1,000 times on real user input without blowing up. You need to learn how to evaluate your AI systems. Unit tests do not really work the same way because the output is non-deterministic. So you need to learn about eval frameworks, LLM as a judge, golden datasets, and measuring things like faithfulness, relevance, and accuracy. Tools like LangFuse and BrainTrust are worth looking at. Step 6. Learn deployment and LLMOps. Stop building projects that live on your laptop. If a recruiter cannot click a link and use your project in 10 seconds, it does not count. Learn enough Fast API to wrap your AI logic into endpoints. Learn enough Docker to containerize it and pick one of the cloud services like AWS or GCP and actually deploy something.
We have to do something.
And while the AI market moves fast and there are new technologies coming out each day, these fundamentals will still be required. Anyways, stop watching and go learn.